PC squared.
All right, we should be live now. Awesome.
There we
All right,
go.
welcome to 5D All Day. I'm Danielle Kane, and I'm excited to have another group with me today to have these awesome conversations where we get to kind of go wherever we want to go, really. But I always like to kind of know what's happening in everybody's world, especially with all that's going on right now. It's like an accelerated course that I think all of us are experiencing. So it's nice to share for those who are kind of awakening to some new consciousness, or that's what I refer to, but maybe you've had a spiritual awakening, or just in something has happened where you are looking for answers. And this is a beautiful community that's very open and ready to listen and provide solutions for those that might be seeking a similar path. So, welcome to Spirit Calling and welcome to my friends here. So, we're going to do a little introduction and then we'll get into some conversations. So, let's start off with Miss Dina.
Hi, we're live. We got on, which is good after the holiday. I'm Dina, and I've been with Spirit Calling over a year and a half now. And 5D is such a fun place to be because we talk about everything and all things all at once. So you never know where it's going to go. So it's good to be here, guys.
Yay. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it.
Uh-huh.
All right, Madeline.
Okay, ladies first.
Yes.
Um, I've been with Spirit Calling since September 2023. Um, and it's been amazing. It's definitely been just a blessing, and it's something that I'm very grateful for. And I love it.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And Michael.
I've been here since August this year and with Spirit Calling, and I like hanging out with people that have similar mindsets. So without being looked at as some sort of oddball.
Mhm.
Mhm. And I love that what you guys share a ton on the portal. I really appreciate you guys. You know, what I'm finding more in this, whatever this is that we're experiencing, that we truly are the creators. And if you are focusing and going in and becoming aware of what's around you, but really tapping into um the calling or whatever it is that you desire, it's like that's where the magic happens. It's we got to get less distracted with what's
Mhm.
outside, and then when we all go within, it's going to be, we're going to create a beautiful place. And I think we're getting closer because I think so many
Yeah,
people are just not interested in, honestly, the lies that I think
true.
are among us. So people just have more and more people are detaching from the news. And I
Hmm.
think that's a really great thing because that's not servicing anybody, to continue that fear tactic. So, you know, when we're not in fear and we're kind of in an alignment to, what is it that I really enjoy? Or what is it that I want to explore today? It shifts everything. I don't know if anyone has
It's
anything to
true.
comment on
Yeah,
that, but
I
It's
do.
really true.
I think that I think we underestimate our own individual power. And like when a lot of people are watching the news and stuff, they're seeing stories from like maybe their area, but mostly like just kind of worldly. And it's a lot of bad things happening everywhere. They're just focusing on like kind of the fear, like the negative breaking news stuff. And there's a time and a place to kind of like go and see what's going on kind of. But I think we're not really meant to know like everything happening everywhere all at once, and the bad stuff too. But then
Mhm.
it's like, so like I said, we underestimate like our power of like just kind of being in our own lives and our own family, and like recognizing our own blessings, and like you said, like
Mhm.
what we like to do and what brings us joy, and how we're like sharing love and receiving love. And then like when you watch the news, it wouldn't seem like it, but in reality, it's like all the people of the world, are, it's more people are experiencing like love and joy and happiness and like caring for themselves and their family and trying to meet their own needs and the needs of their loved ones. And there's so much more of that than there is of like the the things that you see on the news. So like when you watch the news, you think, oh my gosh, this is what the world's about. This is what's
Mhm.
happening and this is what it is. But really that's actually the minority of what's going on. The majority of what's going on is like so much more beautiful and like
Absolutely.
loving.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It-
It's, well, if you think about television, right? Tell a
yeah.
vision and programs and tuning into a channel, they
Right.
have you locked and loaded if you're invested in that. And there's power in all these programming. So it's great when you can be like not interested, or I'm going to choose to allow myself a few minutes to explore what this is, but not get pulled into it. And I think that I'm starting to see even my personal family,
Mhm.
in a way, my mom is not pleased, I guess, with the decision that happened in the election. So she's choosing not to watch the news. And I said, great, I've been trying to get you to not watch the news. So if it took that, right? If it took that event to get her to detach from something that is not servicing her, then we get closer into our heart center, right? So that we get back to unity, because that's
It's
where we're
true.
looking to be.
It's
So
true.
I'm very hopeful that sometimes when what appears to be negative, right, is really just to get us back to where we're supposed to be.
Yeah, I feel like it's all coming to it comes to the surface so that we say it's enough of
Right.
this. And I think after the election, for whatever reason or whatever beliefs you had, people were like, I'm done, I'm tuning out. And you've seen so many of the ratings have dropped across the board in news vehicles. And I will still tune in for like 10 minutes in the morning just to see if there's a major happening, but I can't take it much longer.
Yeah.
And I just observe. I don't get attached. I'm just like, oh, that's still happening in that world. But I don't let it into my world. In my world, I look at myself as creating my own world. And in my world, everything is good. Everything is happening. Everything is working. There are good people out there. There are good stories out there. And, it's not what, unfortunately, it's not what sells. But I think more and more people are saying, enough. I just
Yeah.
want to get back to my family, my life, feeling good, feeling positive. And if we didn't have the ick, we probably wouldn't have gotten to that point, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So it does serve a purpose for sure.
Yeah.
You need to see
Definitely.
the patterns too, right? Because you had
Mhm.
your election, all of a sudden you have other big stories happening right now, and they're spinning it. And I just had this thought that the current news cycle is almost you've seen people almost having a temper tantrum to distract you from healthier points of view. It's like, oh no, they're going to notice something. We better start a war. Oh no, they're going to. We better put those drones up in the air because blah blah blah. The real UFOs are coming, so we better distract them. It's like,
Yeah.
come on,
Well, I
it's like
did.
so
And
obvious.
living in New Jersey, and Maddie, it was a big talk about people, and in a way it was something that brought everybody together, because I think at one point, regardless of where you stood, I guess, on a political spectrum, everyone wanted to know what's going on, and no one got clear answers. And I think people are just like, listen, we just want to know what's going on. And I'm not choosing to be in fear of these drones. I mean, again, I'm not buying into allowing myself to go there. And, but it's a conversation that everyone's having. And I have a friend that is on Facebook, and he made his own like little skit, and like how he's selling these drone kits online and Facebook Marketplace. And it's fun and it's funny. I miss humor and all this. And I'm
Yeah,
like, man,
yeah.
I got to get that on like my podcast, right? Like just to add an element of fun. And that's what we need, more
You know what's
laughter.
you know what's funny about that? Because every time people see like the lights over those big lights over where is it, Vegas or somewhere back in
Hmm.
the 90s, and they came out with a UFO guy dressed up in a UFO
Oh,
costume, the
Phoenix. It was the
government at
Phoenix
Phoenix.
lights.
So now the government wants to keep it, now they wanted to have it serious. So why can't we? So now you just make fun of it.
Yeah, I
Like
think that's what
really.
people have done. If they don't really have the answer, I think some people have led to comedy a little bit. Well, at least someone that I know. And I think people really
Mhm.
appreciate it. And it all comes down to like people just engaging and laughing. And
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
it
appreciate
shifts the
that. I look
energy.
for that. Absolutely. Because
Yeah,
we
So
don't
that'll
know.
force them. Yeah.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And I think that
I
if we
agree.
can be a little humbled by the fact that we don't know, like a lot of people are very strong in their ideologies. And if we could just take a step back and be like, I just don't really know what's happening right now, but maybe I can just appreciate the people that are around me that I care about the most. And then we start to grow, I think, from that perspective. So I always come with a big open mind to the potentials of what could be happening. But so,
I
It's
think
true.
if you can't control it, don't worry about it.
right.
Really.
Absolutely.
Just let it
Right.
go. Like you just can't let it control you.
Yeah.
Just let it's something that I had to learn in a toxic environment. If I can't control it, I can't stress out over it, therefore I have to let it go. And whatever I can control, I'll worry about, but nothing I can't control. So
Right.
that's a
Yeah,
lesson everybody has to learn.
it's true.
Hmm.
It reminds
Yeah.
me of one of my early mentors. One of his tenets was control the controllables.
Hmm.
And I always remember that. And that reminds me of that, Michael, because it's true. If you can impact it in a positive way, great, do so. If you can't, just disengage until you're able to do something, because
Yeah.
otherwise you're just worrying, spinning, fretting for no reason, and you're expending energy and you're feeding that energy that you may not want.
You
So
know,
the
I,
best thing you want to do is just spread positive waves to affect the big waves, and all small positive waves form bigger waves, affect the bigger negative waves, and eventually you change it, right? So
It's true.
I
It's
love
true.
yeah,
I love that. Can we expand on that a little bit? So,
yeah.
you being in a professional setting, both whoever would like to share this perspective. Tell me how you lead, Dina. How do you lead by
Mm.
example? If there's these expectations, I mean, do you find sometimes, and I'm going to use this word just because I think we all can understand where it's very 3D, like it has to be done this way, and like
Oh
we
yeah.
have the bottom line, and I don't care about that. Like, how do you go about like shifting the culture, shifting that energy to be more in alignment with where we're going as a species? Really.
Yeah, I completely believe in leading by example and have done it. I don't I don't adhere to I read a book and I need to come in Monday and act like that book. Like you have to take whatever you read to educate yourself, take little bits and pieces that align with you and absorb it, let it soak in and then translate it into your style, but don't adapt someone else's style. And I've always been pretty casual. I can be very firm, but I like to have fun. I like to be big advocates for my people. And I realized early on that I had the ability to change the energy in a room
Mhm.
by just one or two little words, or even just the way I enter a room. And I've used that to my advantage my whole career, because I've seen so many people come, especially as I've gone up the ladder and they're sitting with very, very esteemed executives, and they're all like trying to be so prim and proper, and I'll be like, stop the meeting and be like, oh my God, that nail color is fabulous. What is it? Like, I'll just stop it and everyone will be like, and it just changes the dynamic of the room, because it's just it's like, be who you are. And I think for me, it's always just been be authentic to who I am, treat people how I want to be treated, and always be an advocate and a soft place to fall. I've always told my team, when you come in my office, you can just cry up, bitch up, laugh up, like do it with someone that's your senior. Don't spread it through the office.
Yeah.
Come in, tell me first, let me help you work through it, and
Hmm.
then go
Hmm.
about, because it shifts the energy if it gets out there. So for me, it's just leading by example and being positive. I believe in coming in every day and being positive, and I never ever would want my team to be like, oh God, what's she going to be like today?
Oh
What's
gosh,
her,
yeah.
oh, is she in a mood, is she not? Like, I am super even. And, people are like, you're just unflappable. Like, how do you do it? And I'm like, I choose it. It
Yeah.
doesn't mean I don't have my moments, but I don't infect the whole office with it. And I think that's why I've had success, is because it's about changing the energy, keeping it positive, and treating people like they want to be treated and like I want to be treated.
That's
It's
great.
really super simple.
Seems like you have some core values. We have some core values at the gym too. And sometimes it's even our clients, we want to, try to elevate if they come in like a 2, right? On a scale from 1 to
Yeah, yeah,
10. You can't come in like a 10, right? You got to kind
yeah,
of come in at like maybe a 7, where at the end of the day, we hope that they at least leave at a 5 or some
yeah, yeah.
higher energy, right? But it's important to be able to, check it at the door. Like we can't tell so many people that have worked for us. Like we know we all have days. You
Everyone
have
has
to bring
days.
your
Yeah.
best. You have to just leave it there. And if you can't, you need to communicate that, because it's so important how the day is going to run at the gym. And we don't, that's not the time. We need to be there for these guys, right? For the
Right.
people that are coming in that need us the most. So it sounds like you have a very strong core ethical value system that you carry for yourself, and I'm sure for your team. So that's
Yeah,
great.
I do. I do. And I mean, my goal is that anyone who comes in contact with me during the day leaves feeling better. It's really super simple. I mean, and it doesn't mean you don't have tough conversations, but
Hmm.
you can still have tough conversations and have people leave feeling positive.
Yeah,
That's the key.
absolutely. How about you, Michael? What about your experience and your
Well,
work?
I'll just keep it to right now because I've had negative and positive experience. I've tried to be positive in a negative environment. Like I was like, well, I'll go back a little bit. I was in an environment that was super positive that went negative like within a week because of a new
Mm,
appointment. A new senior member just made toxic toxicity go through the whole organization, just
Mhm.
like a tidal wave. And all of a sudden, everybody was being fired and everything else. All the good leaders, all the bad leaders, anybody who had said the wrong thing to the CAO, stuff like that. It was an adventure in toxicity. So my leadership ability at the time was a young servant leader, right? So I was just like, do what's best for the organization, try to help out and do everything else. But that doesn't work well in a toxic environment.
mm-mm.
Currently, I work in a health environment where um, I take calls and try to help people with getting onto a platform, right? It's to get their medical attention, and they have problems technically, but the objective is to make them smile. I joke with them. I try if they belittle themselves, I say don't belittle yourselves. Just because you don't know something doesn't mean that I'm not bad at something. So I always try to make them feel good about what they're doing and try to joke with them. I'm very patient. Always, oh, you're so very patient. I go, well, you should see me home with my daughters. So, but the objective of GOS is also is like, just try to make them feel good and try to make them and solve the problem. So as an IT person, that's always the goal is to solve people's problems and you feel better. It's sort of like well, if you're a servant leader, you understand when you help other people, it makes you feel good. So
Absolutely.
Hmm.
yeah,
I think
So
that's like the
true.
common theme here, right? Like we
yeah,
want to
It's true.
serve and we want to make people feel better and we want to feel good, right?
yeah.
Exactly.
The
How about
secret
you,
sauce.
Maddie? Yeah.
This topic makes me think of something that I've experienced recently with 3 days a week. I go to an adult group therapy program,
Hmm.
and it's like a long stretch from like 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. And one of my favorite groups is they have a yoga group. But the unfortunately the guy comes a little bit sporadically.
Hmm.
But uh and I was starting to like talk to different people and saying like, are you gonna come to yoga today? Or like encouraging people. And then like some people were like thinking like, oh no, like I can't do that. But I was saying that he speaks to like people who want to do like chair yoga and then
Hmm.
like the regular yoga and like different adaptations and stuff. Like he allows for that, like different
That's cool.
people's yeah. So I was like I was able to like encourage a couple people to actually like try it out, and then they were happy that they did, because even if they weren't like physically able to really do much, they were still like calmed and like it was a peaceful, meditative like environment, and it's like they were happy that they went. And then on top of that, I was just the other day, I was a little upset speaking to one of the counselors. I was like, so is the yoga guy coming today? And he was like, no, not today, blah, blah. And I was like, oh man, and then I said, like, I asked them, like, even on the days where he doesn't show up, like, can we still have access to that room and like the yoga mats and kind of like maybe do our own thing for that hour? And then he was like, you know what? I'm gonna ask my supervisor like if we can do that. And then he actually asked me like if it's approved, like will you kind of be he asked me to like lead it sort of.
Wow.
Like
That's
so
cool,
I
Maddie.
so then I was like, well, I guess I can. I mean, I'm not a yoga teacher, but I said, like, I can tell people, like, feel free to just do your own thing, like, whatever movement, whatever you want to
Mhm.
do. But if you want to, like, follow along with whatever I'm doing, like, that's cool too. So I'm kind of looking forward to just having that space more often, to engage in that,
That that's
you
so
know.
great. I'm
Yeah.
just so impressed. Like, look at
I'm
you create.
proud of you,
That's what
Maddie.
this is all about. Like, see,
Yes,
you're taking something and creating it, and it's yours now. And
Yeah.
that's the magic. That's what I
yep,
live for stories like that because it's not like, oh, well, you had to fall in line and you had to do it this way. Like you spoke out and showed your interests, and then
Yeah.
it unfolded into something that you were like, whoa, okay, I can have this space. And wow, that's just really amazing. I'm so glad that you shared that
yeah,
because
because you could have easily just said, "Oh, okay, we can't do it," but you were like, "How do I resolve this and make it better?" And also let people take part in that energy and express themselves. So that is really cool, Maddie.
yeah,
Super
Thank
cool.
you.
really cool, really cool.
I love
So
that.
I know.
Mhm.
So much growth just in hearing from all of us. Like every time I hear somebody and what they've done, like and then they've stepped like a leap of faith, you, Dina, like a year ago, and like all that you've
Mhm.
created with Pamela and just in your own life. I'm sure there's more stories that I don't even know about, but tell me a little bit
Yeah,
about some of your intentions for this year, about what you are trying to create in your life. If you have any goals or any plans, would you mind sharing with
yeah.
us?
What I have learned, and probably I'd say the last 2 months is, in my corporate life, I'm very much about driving, leading, all of the things. And one of my mentors, actually, Tina Marie, is in our community, she and I have had several sessions, and she said, and it was so funny because my word for 2024 was allow, because I get impatient. Like I want to make things happen instead of just allowing it to come to me as it should. Um, because I'm so used to creating results. So she's like, you have to flip flop. You have to say, in your corporate life, you are probably 80% driving and 20% allowing.
Mm,
But in your spiritual realm, she's like, you are right at that door and you need to just step over the door. And she said, you need to have 80% allow with no attachment to the outcome and 20% kind of directing. And
mm,
so for me, I'm trying to just allow a lot more because, as we know in the spiritual realm, it's not about our timing. It's not about what we think we should have or what we think should happen. It's all very different. And if I look at all of the pieces that fell into place to get me to where I am, and for Pamela and I to reconnect, and all the work that we've done, I wasn't orchestrating it
mhm,
at all. I was just following the breadcrumbs, right? And
mhm,
then I'd allow it, like, oh, this looks interesting, I'll go there. This looks interesting, I'll go there. I was allowing, but I didn't realize it. And
mhm.
so for 2025, for me, it's keep doing what I'm doing, but allow. Just what is meant to happen is to happen, and be open to it and just let it flow freely, as opposed to me saying, okay, now I know this, I'm going to do this, and this. I'm just going to do the same thing because it's what got me here. And it's a good exercise because it's very hard for me not to want to affect an outcome. So
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
allowing. Yeah,
I
I'm
appreciate the
allowing.
wisdom because, it gets
Hmm.
me thinking of some things personally. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, it's really hard, but she was very clear. She's like, the guides are telling you it is time for you to just allow and be, and the council had also said, um, it's time for you to step completely into your power and just allow. So I'm hearing it. It's like, okay, boing, boing, boing. You get a poke in the back and then a nudge. And then as my mother used to say, you'll get a brick upside the head. That's like, do you got it? Do you got it? Do
Yeah.
you got it? So yeah, so we're in a state of kind of to just allow and remaining super positive and keeping frequency really high because I think it's going to be really important this year that we all keep our frequencies super high because I think there's going to be challenges this year just like
Sure.
every year.
Sure. Absolutely. All right. Thank you. All right, Michael, what about you? Do you have some intentions for whatever you want to
Well,
create for 2025?
it's evolving. Last year this year started with intuition, then into meditation, which just sort of like domino effects. I was into tango dancing briefly, which
Mm.
helped focus a bit, and then I had QHHT, which sort of like opened me up to previous lives.
Mhm.
And then recently I noticed how uh, my astrology is like I have Mercury at 29 degrees of Leo, which explains a lot. So, I don't know. And I have Moon and Sun in Leo too. So it's like,
Mhm.
and I'm born on July 29th.
I
So
would love to know more about that. Do we have a person or even you, if one day we could just talk a little bit about degrees and all that? That's not an area where
yeah.
I'm very strong, but I'm very
And then the weird
fascinated.
thing is Nicole is also July 29th. So
Right. Right.
Oh,
yeah.
that's right.
Yeah. So, but then I started being attracted like this month to sacred geometry. So that's my intention this year is to go into sacred geometry more. Seems like the path I need to go into. And I had some stuff written down here.
It seems like
And
education, though, you're looking to further
yeah,
enhance
so
your understanding of
yeah, so and
various things.
the problem this like I had this conundrum. Like the reason why I saw the the psychic in April was saying, "What's my purpose from a higher spirit's point of view?" And and the reason was because of my medical problems, but also it seems in the past, well, year and a half, that anytime I made any sort of move towards like interest in anybody, like it seemed to be thwarted.
Mhm.
It's like,
Mm.
nope. And it seems like every time it says, even today, it was I had interest in somebody, and sure enough, that was shorted. It was like seven to go, what? It's like
Yeah,
I'm
it's
not supposed
not
it's
time
like,
yet.
no,
Not time
no,
yet.
no,
Mhm.
okay, fine. So I have to, and so like I've also like focusing in on I'm like I've been trying to communicate out, and that's basically how I came to spirit calling because I was visualizing a lot at broadcasting my signal out, and I
Hmm.
was trying to broadcast my signal out um, ETs,
Hmm.
and I did mention this last week in another group session that the Palladian said, you're a toddler, uh, you know, keep in your space or stay in your place. Like basically, I'm at where I'm supposed to be right now because the way I'm situated where I'm living right now, um, I'm sort of in a Orion shape right now. Like my house, and there's another place up just up the street called Lionsgate, and another street
Nice.
up the street called Templar Avenue, and
Oh, wow.
they
That's
all
neat.
align to an Orion shape.
Oh, so
So
cool.
That's cool.
yeah, and I also have an Orion shape on my chest that's sort of three dots. So I'm sort of Orion shape, but I go, I never noticed that before. It's sort of the shape of Orion. Okay, it's kind of weird. It's like, and when I saw um the QHHT, she said I was maybe related to Knights Templar and stuff like that, and that's why
Mm.
because I work with a company called IMP Solutions, and um, their hotels right across the island from the Oak Island, where the Curse of Oak Island is filmed, which is about the Knights Templar depositing gold and stuff like that down there.
Interesting.
So it's like it's all and like it's like I haven't even delved into that. So I was like, and so like I've done meditations last month where I'm going to other past lives, and one past life was an alien on a different planet, and last night it was like a druid came to my. I did meditation this morning, and druid came to my head. It's like
Mhm.
this is what I'm getting, a lot of past lives and like nurse, but nothing, just little hints and stuff like that. So
Some,
I'm just more and more focused into that, but mostly sacred geometry right now is the focus
Yeah.
for January.
And if you're getting like meditation and you pop out of it, what will really bring up your psychic clairvoyance will be to start writing it. And I think it'll start to getting clear for you.
Yeah,
yeah,
I do write it on my phone here.
Yeah.
Um, not as much, but yeah, writing is much more healthier for the brain to
Yeah.
than typing it on a
hmm
phone.
I
So
had this clairvoyant book and I'm like, this is for my husband because he super has these like crazy vivid dreams every once in a while where they're like, we know
yeah,
it has truth behind it.
yeah,
For
yeah,
me, it's good practice. It's just something that I'm terrible about getting up out of my sleep. I know Pamela talks about how she has to get up and she has to
yeah.
write about it or else,
Because you'll forget it just
you'll
like
you
forget
that.
it.
forget.
Mhm.
Yeah, you
And
forget.
that's,
It's like if you don't lay there for the first minute and say, "Let me think," it's like it's there and it's gone.
yeah.
It's frustrating, but
Well, you and Nicole better collaborate on some sacred geometry and then we'll see what you guys come up with.
Mhm.
it's
She loves
true.
that. That's her lane for
That's it.
sure. Oh, she
Oh,
loves sacred
cool.
geometry. That is her number one. She is very passionate about it. So we'll have to chat offline about it and
All right, cool.
see what happens with it. That's exciting. How about you,
Yeah.
Maddie? You got anything in particular that you're kind of focusing on for the new year?
Yeah. So, I'll be honest, for in my present moment, I'm a little bit overwhelmed about it because it's stepping into the unknown. I'm not sure how I'm going to do it, but I do have the intention of achieving much more balance, like when it
Mm,
comes to like mental, emotional, spiritual, physical, like all that I am and all that we are. Like I want to have a balance between all that stuff because I'll blame it on my Scorpio nature. I can become obsessive. So
mhm,
like I'll decide like I'm gonna focus on physical and I'll only be thinking about like physical stuff like exercise and like nutrition and like educating myself on this and that and blah blah blah. But then I'll intuitively feel like other parts of me being neglected and
mhm,
I'll start to not be
Yeah,
feeling good. And then the same thing happens with other things. Like I'll say like, okay, now I'm going to focus on emotions, and then I'll be obsessively focusing on like feeling my emotions and allowing my emotions and thinking about what messages they're bringing to me and like what desires I really have and like my truth and I'll just and then I'll be like so I'll jump from different things and kind of just hyper focus and be obsessed with certain things, but so in the new year, I want to try to figure out, and like I just get like a vision of almost like a pie chart where all of those aspects are evenly
distributed.
like I somehow like I said, I'm a little overwhelmed because I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I have faith that I can figure it out. Like all of those aspects are will become like I'll find the time to make sure that you know, balance what's
Enough
necessary.
of each. Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard.
do you have a way or an outlet of like a visual? Are you a visual person? Like, would you be something like if you created something where you created literally a pie
hmm
on a vision board or something? Are you into something like that? What drives you to
Um,
get something in front of you?
okay, so I do resonate with that a little bit, with a little bit of like our artistic and creative. Like I feel like if I like got a piece of paper and like drew like a pie chart and then tapped into like what's feeling neglected or deficient and like what is fine, stable, strong, overflowing and like kind of creatively just took what I'm feeling, but then allowed me to see it. So like like I could process and be like, okay, this is like what's going on with me, and I need to pay more attention here or there. And then like in a more simplified sense, I think I could like literally draw like a pie chart and, make the lines and write the words of what I want to focus on,
Yeah.
like, have that there, and then like
I would love
go.
to see that. I'm already feeling that you're doing it. Like that's the sense that I got from
Mm-hmm.
you when you were describing it. I'm like, yeah, you're going to just draw it. And then it's just going to become words and then it's going to become this piece of art and
It'll
it's
be
all
like
going to
my
show your
map,
balance.
right? Like
Your,
my
Your
map.
map. Yeah. It's
your
your body. It's
roadmap.
your
Yep.
blueprint. It's your roadmap.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
That sounds great. I love it. I love everything that you guys said. If you guys don't mind me sharing a little bit about what I've been thinking, I'm a little all over the place too. Like I tend to find from my human design and just the type of personality. I like to try everything. I've kind of jumped into spirituality full on, and I
Mm-hmm.
think now I've learned a lot from doing that, and I'm also starting to sit back in and observing more rather than going in and searching. I'm now observing, and I really want to
Mm-hmm.
stay in my body. So I've been most of the time I've been like outside of my body, and
Yeah.
I just couldn't. I didn't want to feel. I think feelings would bring up a lot of emotions, and told you're not supposed to have emotions, growing up. So
Right.
I really enjoyed, and many of you guys know that I've been playing pickleball, and I'm playing quite regularly,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm very good. So it brings me a lot of joy because I'm meeting so many different people, older, younger, and it's bringing purpose in a way where like I'm talking to people that have injuries, and that's exactly what we do with my husband. And then
Mm-hmm.
and so I'm referring them to people, and one girl had her lunate completely out in her wrist, and he popped it right back in, and she's like, I can't believe it. I walked out. I was in such pain, and I walked up feeling
Ah,
great. And I'm thinking, I think this is what I'm
what you're
supposed to
supposed to
be
do.
doing. I'm just supposed to be present and have conversations with people. And that's
Yeah.
why I love this channel, because it's just about having conversations. So the person's guided in whatever direction, or something comes up that we're like, aha, that aha
Mm-hmm.
moment. And so I'm just going to try to stay with that. I'm really just going to try to stay present and go to some place that makes me feel good, be there for my family. And I really would love to have more conversations with people. So that's where I'm starting off for the new year. So it's
Mhm.
been it's been it's been great. But yeah, so trying to also be grateful for the fact that I can be all over the place, and that's okay too.
Yeah, yeah, you have those moments, but it seems like the conversations, getting out there and getting into new little groups or audiences where
Yeah.
you can have the conversations,
Yeah.
is seeming like that's what's aligned for you, which is
Yeah.
the right time to do that.
And it's
And
great to
you're
help
in a
people.
joyful space. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're in
and
a
I like to help
joyful
people
space.
too in a way where people want the help, or it's the right
Right,
fit. It's not like this forced, like I want to get this
right,
sale or I need to do this. I want to make sure that people know, because a lot of people don't even know, like, hey, there's a person that does mobility, and there's a person down the street that can do something like this, and I don't have to go through
exactly.
all these processes like an MRI, an X-ray. So yes, yes, that's the plan for 2025. So yay.
It's a good plan. I think everyone's plans are good. It's good to start. I mean, I'm not a big New Year's resolution person, like, because
Yeah.
I prefer to
When I didn't
think.
use the word resolution, I wrote
No,
intention, right?
no, and I think that was really, I caught my attention because I don't use that word either, because I think that sets people up for failure, right?
Okay.
It's like sometimes a resolution is more short. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
January, February, we're doing great, and by March it's gone. So
Yeah.
for me, it's more of the intention for how do I want to weave this into my life
Sure. Exactly.
on an ongoing way. Um, and some days I'll be great at it, and some days I won't be it, but not to beat yourself up on those days where you maybe weren't. There's always another day, you
And
know?
I feel like resolutions, like you said, to your point, don't usually end up working out so great.
No,
I've seen it a
yeah,
lot in the fitness industry, and people have these resolutions, and you see how people come in all motivated and then it dies out quickly. But if
yeah.
someone, but if someone is is aligned to something that they really enjoy,
Mm-hmm.
that's a great start. If it's
Yeah.
something like sacred geometry, and someone bought you a book for whatever, maybe it's Christmas, maybe something, or you found a website that you're in tuned with, like that's a great start, just to start,
Mm-hmm.
going in that direction of exploring and things like that. So
Robert Everett Grant.
what'd you say?
Robert Edward Grant.
Did you get
He's
one?
the no, but I would like to buy his book. He's the inspiration because he's really cool.
See,
So
somehow I knew there was a book in there.
Yeah.
That's great,
It's always
guys.
good to have a book.
Yeah.
yeah.
Anybody have any
But
good books that they want to read or that's been floating around?
Do you guys want to see my bookshelf?
Yeah, let's
Take you
see
on
it.
take you
oh,
on a
there you go.
field trip? Well, before I show you my
What's going on?
Ooh, look at your altar. I love it.
book,
You got some nice crystals there.
yeah, so I literally, this is books, this is
We're having a hard time hearing you, or I can't hear you very well.
oh, I'm sorry. I
There
was
you go.
just saying that I just like literally have so many rocks because I've been collecting them for so long.
Oh, they're beautiful. They're
They
beautiful.
are.
This is my bookshelf. Can you still hear me?
I can
Yeah.
hear you a little bit right there. If you stay there, we can hear you.
Okay, so
Go a little closer.
I have this practice that I've been, but sometimes I'll be here and sit down in front of my bookshelf
Yeah.
and I'll just connect and I'll say like, okay, whatever book I choose, whatever page I open up to will be in alignment in some way to help me in this moment with guidance. So
Mm-hmm.
I'll just grab one and I'll just open a random page and I'll read it and every time I'm like so shocked. I'm like, oh my God, how is this happening? You know, because it truly is just like in alignment with like and like helpful in some way, you know, with what's happening in my present life. And it's like a fun hobby
So
to
you pull out one book if so I can recall what you said, and you pick a page like
yeah,
just randomly, and then you read it.
yeah,
And it's like your message for the day.
yeah.
That's great.
That's cool. That's cool.
Speaking of
I
books,
just,
I want to get back and I
which
don't know
one?
if you can see it because of my
Wait,
screen, but the
what's that?
crystal grids. Now you can't see it. So the
Oh,
crystal
yeah.
grids. I
I got
really
that
want
one
to
too.
do a crystal grid for this year.
Yeah, me too. I have that. I bought that book too. And then I bought this. Can you guys see it?
Oh,
The
I
raw
have that on
material,
computer, but I haven't read
Yeah.
it yet.
the law of
I've
one.
been dying to get into this one. I don't know why I've been called to. He's come through several times when Pamela and I are channeling. So I'm like, and he's always has a lot to say. So I'm like, all right, I should
There you
probably
go.
read
Get into it.
this.
Awesome. Yeah, I
So
would love to hear if anyone ever has something strong or powerful too that they would like to bring to these conversations based on some information or material that they've gotten from. It could be a meditation, it could be a dream, it could be some, insert from the book. I would love to hear it because
yeah, I
Yeah.
think the other thing that I've been pulled towards, and Pamela and I were talking about this too, and we were talking about it when we were in Austin together, and then she brought it the other day, but I'm very much drawn to the divine feminine and female historical, like it started with Fatima and then Joan of Arc, and like all of these divinely feminine, powerful women of history. I was watching Cleopatra the other night and how she maneuvered, and I think there's something there. She and I've been told that I'm here to bring the divine feminine into like more of the corporate world and things like that.
yeah.
She's been told that. So I think there's something, and we've been noodling. Do we pick a woman of, whether it's a ascended master or, a Joan of Arc or whoever, you pick someone, Isis, whatever, and just really have a discussion about each
Yeah.
of those women, and what they brought to the table in their time and what they were up against. And I've been really fascinated with that whole thing for quite a while. So that's something we've been noodling a lot
That's great.
about as well. Like just have a conversation and pick someone and just talk about
It's
what
been
they brought.
it's been polarized to the male perspective for 12,000 years. Before
Mhm.
that,
Exactly.
it was
Mhm.
women, matriarchal civilization. Maybe that's why they suppressed that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But now we're in the age of Aquarius where that's coming into
Full.
Yeah,
balance again.
absolutely.
So
Yeah.
Right. Well, and I think
uh,
there was a point where the feminine energy was out of balance too, and then it flipped to the masculine,
yeah,
and now
exactly.
that's out of balance.
Yeah.
So
Now
maybe
it's
that was
like about,
24,000 years ago when we were in balance.
Yeah. Right.
yeah,
Right. Oh, that's
now
exciting. I think that sounds great. I
we're
can't.
bringing
I
it
think
back.
I think this year, while you said that there's going to be some challenges, but I think that we're going to witness a lot of
I love.
information that I think that our soul's been wanting to know more about. And I think it will involve a lot of important figures in our lifetime. So
Yes.
I'm very on
Yes.
board to hear all about it. So that sounds wonderful. Yay.
It's going to be an exciting year. They always are.
What a nice little intimate group we had today. I thought that was
It was
so
a good group.
pleasant. Yeah,
It was.
it was so nice. And I appreciate all that you guys brought to the table today to share. So I guess we'll be meeting again, right? Probably oh my gosh, the 31st. There's 5 weeks in January. So
Oh, wow.
it
Okay.
looks like the 31st of January might work. If not, I'll let you guys know.
We
But
might be all ascended masters by then.
exactly. Well, I'll be like the Mayans and maybe somewhere else now. But I thank you guys so much for being here. And again, if this is something that you're aligned with watching today, please come check out spirit-calling.com. There's a world of information there to just kind of explore and have conversations like this, as well as other events that happen during the month. So I hope you come and check it out. And I want to.
And more amazing people that, like the people that are here today. Like, it's such an amazing, loving, caring community, which I think is really unique, frankly. Everyone is truly aligned, which is very cool.
Yes.
And
I don't think I've
welcome.
ever experienced anything in such
Yeah,
alignment. So I thank
it's
you.
really fun.
And I thank you guys for your participation, because the three of you, I see you regularly there and you bring so much to the table. So thank you again for being here and for all that
Thank
you do.
you.
Yay.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
And have a happy new year, guys. I'll see you very soon.
Yeah.
Yes, we'll see you in 2025.
2025, here we come.
Here we
All
come.
right.
All
All right.
right,
Well,
guys.
have a good one,
Yeah.
guys. We'll see you
Thanks.
soon. Take
Bye.
care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. I'm trying to log off.